Hello guys, and welcome to the last spinner. Finally, well, not finally, hopefully not finally. So let's do that. Let's create new div and let's give it an ID of spinner 5. And in here, let's also define a other div and let's give it an ID of can't think of any name, so CRC because we use circle. It's a class. Well, we will use circle. Okay, so that will be a circle. And let's start it. So spinner 5 will have some margin, right? So margin top, and let's give it like 125 pixels. Okay, and we also want a margin from left, so that will be like 100 pixels, for example. We can play with that later. Okay, so let's style the circle. And the circle will have obviously the border radius of 50% so that it looks like circle. It will have a width of let's give it like 150. We mostly use 150 throughout this like spinner series, so it's a good idea to keep it this way. And let's give it a height of 150 pixels. So right now what we need to do is also add a color, so background color, and it will be yellow. So right now we can see it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So right now we will define the pseudo element, so that will be the kind of border around this circle that just kind of spins. So let's do that. Circle after, and it will be just same settings as in here. Okay, but this time we will add a border, so it will be border 4 pixels solid, and let's give it a transparent like this. And because we want only the parts of the border to be seen, same thing as in here, so pretty much same trick. So right now we will define the border top color like this, and it will be green yellow because we use yellow in the circle so that we mix things up. And border bottom color will be also green and yellow. You can also, for example, make a border left and right color, right, green and yellow, that might look a bit different. So you may want to try it. We'll maybe try it later on. So I will also define the content, and let's give it an empty. And let's also, well, we should be able to see it right now. I believe we have a border in here, green and yellow, but I don't see anything. Maybe it's too small, but it shouldn't be. For 4 pixels is quite wide. So let's define the position of this thing. That will be absolute. And right now we can see it. So also the top will have, should it be like -4 pixels? Well, no. We do a border that have like 8 pixels, so the border makes the width of bigger by 16 pixels, right? And the height of bigger by 16 pixels, because there's like 8 pixels more on the left side and 8 pixels more on the right side. Okay, hopefully it makes sense. So I want the top to be -8, well, basically the border width, and the left to be also -8. That should work, so that should move. Also, this one should be relative. So position relative, and yeah, it's quite on the, as a border to the circle, right? If we define border in here, it should look pretty much the same. So right now what we can do is animate this thing. So we will just define the animation, and the first one will just change the size of this. So keyframes, and let's call this one size. I cannot think of any like smart names, but yeah, it's for the teaching purposes, that's enough. So at the 0% we want it to be like scale, and we want it to be the same size. So we will pass 1 as a argument. Hopefully you remember that when we pass 1, it just keeps the size the same, because we basically multiply the width and height by this number. Okay? Then by the time of 50% of the animation, we want it to transform and turn it a bit bigger. So 1 point, let's say 2. So we will increase the size of this by 20%. And also the 100, at the 100% we want it to go back to scale 1. Okay? So like this. And let's add it to the circle. So animation, in here the name, so size, then the time, 2 seconds, the function, so let's give it like some cubic bezier that might look good, so maybe this one, and the delay will be 0 seconds, and it should be like infinite. So let's see. Okay, it looks quite cool. It looks quite cool. We can play with the timing function, obviously. But yeah, let's also add the animation to the circle, because we want this to turn around at the same time. So animation, and we already defined the turn animation somewhere at the top of this long file. So I won't scroll to it, but you should believe me that there's somewhere up here there is a turn animation, and let's give it like 2 seconds, so the same time, and let's make it, for example, linear. That should make a good combination with the cubic bezier of the scaling function. So let's see, infinite, and let's hit save. Okay, so it turns around and it grows and trims, right? So that looks quite cool in my opinion. Let's do another thing that you can try also on your own, but I will change the border color to left so that it looks like a bit different. You can also change the border bottom and border right color to some other color, for example to yellow. Let's see how that will look. So border right color will be yellow. That might look good. And the border bottom, I just write it, border bottom color will be yellow, like this. And let's see. Well, it looks interesting. Yeah, it looks interesting. You can maybe put a like the fading effect. So yeah, that will maybe good. Well, yeah, I will just keep it this way. I won't complicate this thing. But maybe if I just change the border left size, well, the width to like 6 pixels. Let's see how that will look. Yeah, it's kind of like disappearing effect, right? So for example, 4 pixels, like make it even smaller. And yeah, that looks quite cool in my opinion. Okay, so yeah, let's also change this one to yellow. Maybe, let's see how that looks. Okay, and we can also get rid of this thing, right? Because we changed these two. So yeah, this one looks quite interesting in my opinion. You can obviously play with that, right? You can make the border even more visible, but I will just keep it this way, and that is pretty much it for this one. If you have any questions, if something isn't working, feel free to ask, and I will see you next time.